You're welcome to Let's Talk.
We should sit down and talk. We need to sit down and talk. How Nigeria should govern, how we're going to do our job.
We want to stand up and say no to corruption. We're going to do our job because you're telling the system you are not just doing good for yourself or for the nation, you also do good for the future.
Boko Haram is an attack, it's a spiritual attack. It's a satanic attack on Nigeria. We must, if we come to recognize it, we will understand then how to look for the solution.
The Sovereign National Conference, how do we want to achieve that in our prison system? We need to sit down and iron out how Nigeria should be governed.
Hello and thanks for joining us again. The program is Let's Talk. Now today on Let's Talk we're going to be looking at terrorist attacks on Christian worship centers in northern Nigeria. Now you know that there have been increasing attacks on religious minorities, especially in the northern parts of Nigeria. And of course there are clear signs of danger ahead in terms of inter-religious peace and harmony in the country. Now we're going to be looking at that. We are asking what is the way forward? You know, what is being done, the things that are being done currently, or the efforts by the government of the day. Is it enough to really tackle this issue? So we're going to be looking at that. The topic again is terrorist attacks on Christian worship centers in northern Nigeria and the way forward. And this morning, to help me look at that, I have with me Clement Epo. He is a barrister, legal practitioner, and he is a public policy analyst. You're welcome to Let's Talk.
Pleasure.
All right, so there have been terror attacks on Christian or religious minorities, talking about Christians in northern parts of Nigeria. Now, with what we have seen in recent times, do you think that it can be described as a full religious crisis at the moment with the way it's going right now?
Well, thank you very much. To describe what is happening in Nigeria, particularly the northern part of Nigeria, as a full religious crisis, I think will be a hasty conclusion.
Okay.
It runs short of that. So I would not call it, in as much as it is pervasive as it is, we will not, because northern part of Nigeria is only a part, like it is, of Nigeria. Although the immediate or indirect implication may be that it can have a sporadic effect by spreading to every other part. But as it is now, with the efforts of law enforcement agencies, I believe you cannot say it's a full-scale religious crisis, so such as to call it, maybe give it a name tag, jihad,
Okay.
as it were. But we would not call it so, because there are certain fundamentalists who are spearheading it, and at the moment, I think I can say that they are making every effort to contain it within that northern axis of Nigeria. So long as it has not, we've not heard, for example, in the west or in the south or in the southeast, that as a result of what happened, what took place, for example, in Bauchi, that this had also, you know, provoked certain uprising or reprisals in areas like Onitsha or River State, or so we cannot, because we can't really say that. But we know in the way it's a crisis that needs to be tackled. So, but it's not a full-scale religious crisis.
Okay. Now, in the past, we saw attacks on security outfits. You know, we had a series of attacks on police headquarters and police institutions. We also saw attacks on institutions of education, talking about the university in Kano, the attack that happened there. And now we're seeing, well, we have been seeing attacks on Christian worship centers as well. What do you think, in your opinion, why are they directing their attacks at the Christian minorities, in your opinion, from what you see and observe?
Well, you know, when you look at the way you try to appreciate the mindset of those who are behind all these various attacks, you discover that one of the strategies that they are using is the multi-tone strategy of waging a war without being seen. But your the war is only known by the act it's carrying out, and that is what they are doing. And for them, it has been said that they're doing it first for attention, to redress certain other issues. But you see, when the strategies behind the bombing plans, one of the cardinal points is whether it is politically induced or whether they have a particular aim they actually want to achieve, but they want to get the core of attention of the public, both local and international. And so they look at institutions that can, once it is attacked, can attract either the sympathy or the attention of both the local and international, population. So that's what they're doing. They went from, like you rightly said, from the security outfits. We saw them also getting to some other quarters, and now they've gotten to the churches. You talked about ministries. Yes, they will do so because within them, they are believing that if we go this way, we should be able, and like some other security analysts have said, it's also possible that the government in place, all this is effort, calculated effort to see how it can be destabilized, how it can be discredited, so that whatsoever their desire or the government desire is, which we do not know in the future, the people of Nigeria should not give them that, or they're making it look so that we cannot give a platform or a conducive environment for a proper civil governance. Those are the things that they are. Why today, maybe you can see that the Nigerian police, they've fortified themselves with respect to certain security consciousness, bordering their offices. So they know that they are prone to be attacked. So they are aware of, they are conscious of it. So they are trying to guard against it. So while they are doing so, these people turn their direction and their attention to some other area where people do not want. But on the whole, at the end of the day, it may be helping us as a people to be more conscious of our security. Yes, the government, we may be blamed, some people may have cast aspersion on the government that they are not doing enough to protect. But it's also telling us that we should not actually leave the sole responsibility of protecting us or security to the government. We can also do something. So we cannot really say that this is the basis upon which they are doing so, because they, like we say, they have not actually come. The first thing that they came out was that they are against foreign or Western education. But it has gone beyond that.
All right, we're looking at terrorist attacks on Christian worship centers in northern Nigeria, and we're looking at the way forward. Now, the president of the Christian Association of Nigeria and the Pentecostal Fellowship of Nigeria, Pastor Ayo Orichejafo, has been issuing cautionary statements to the president, indicating that the association may be peace-loving, but they're not cowards. In other words, they're ready to also defend themselves. What do you think about that particular stance?
It's not new. Biblically speaking, we can also trace it. That when the people are compelled or are confronted with imminent danger, and there seem not to be hope in sight to protect them, their being, their existence, well, we've always seen that there's always a resolve to rise up, so long as you can do it within the confines of the law, to rise up and protect yourself. I believe that is the premise upon which he may be issuing that. Yes, the president may be very politically sensitive, and he wouldn't want to remember he's a Christian, and most of this bombing, it is quote and unquote tagged to be promoted and instigated by the Muslim folks. So if he does anything, and I believe those are the things that have control or detected the president's approach to handling the issue of Boko Haram over since, because so that it will not be placated that he's biased because he is a Christian, so maybe he wants to. If he were maybe somebody like our former president, he wouldn't mind what people may want to say, but all that he sees is that this is a security threat, we should deal with it. So the president of Khan maybe saying that, look, we expect you to do more than what you've done, more than coming out in the public to make certain statements. We want action on ground. But if you do not do so, we can also admonish our brethren to rise up. Now, churches in the west, in the northern part of Nigeria are more security conscious. But it may go more than, it may move more than that. We are not praying that it should come to a point where when we gather to worship, we will be carrying arms to protect ourselves. I believe that is the reason why he is making the statement, that instead of doing that, you can also come in and take charge and ensure that our people over there are protected while they worship their God.
Okay, now, still in line with that, now there has been a statement also made. The Christian Association of Nigeria, the Southeastern chapter, has declared its readiness to retaliate and defend its members by actually waging a counter war using what is called the Omunigwe, which is a locally made bombs, which had been used by Biafran soldiers. Now, the chairman, Reverend Emmanuel Chukwuma, who is the Anglican Bishop of the Enugu Diocese, made the remark in Enugu recently. What do you think about that?
When statements like that are made, the proponents or those who are sponsoring Boko Haram or those attacked, at the end of they get back to their conference and begin to rejoice. Because give and take, the cardinal basis upon all these attacks is to destabilize our system, the entire system, to make it ungovernable. What has happened in one of our neighboring countries, that for a span of how many years now, Somalia, they've not had a government, a legitimate government. And when the Boko Haram started, we also heard that part of those, or where the attackers,
You're welcome to Let's Talk.
We should sit down and talk. We need to sit down and talk. Iron out how Nigeria corruption, how we're going to do our job.
We want to stand up and say no to corruption. We're going to do our job because I think the system, you are not just doing good for yourself or for the nation, you also do good for the future.
Boko Haram is an attack, it's a spiritual attack. It's a satanic attack on Nigeria. We must, if we come to recognize it, we will understand then how to look for the solution.
The Sovereign National Conference, how do we want to achieve that in our present system? We need to sit down and iron out how Nigeria should be governed.
where they were trained, and those who sponsored them are from Somalia and also Libya. So what we have seen there, it's also what, because when you're talking about a reprisal attack from the north, I mean from the east. The question is, those who are there who will feel threatened, what will happen to them? They will feel they are no longer protected. The next thing is for them to return back. And if they are returning back, it will also provoke a return of those on the other side. Then everyone goes to their own end. But remember, these people are not only attacking the Easterners or the Southwesterners. They are attacking everyone. When they attack the institution, the Nigerian police, it is not Eastern-based institution. So all that they are intending to do is to make the country ungovernable so that we will come to a point of anarchy. But I believe that our government is making every effort to see that this or the state does not deteriorate to that point where it will become ungovernable or we will declare a state of emergency as a result of these activities.
All right. Now, you know, suicide bombing is something that is new, if I can put it that way, in Nigeria. We've not been seeing that before, you know, where people who are actually willing to die, you know, carry out such attacks. Now, these have become more frequent in Nigeria, and they are being carried out around these organizations, you know, worship centers, around church areas. Now, is there any major way of actually combating these suicide tendencies?
It's an interesting question because, like you said, it's in this part of the world, it's something new in our lexicon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not been there. However, you know, it's not the only new thing. There are other new things that have evolved, but maybe because they have positive impact, so we may not actually appreciate them. But this is one of the ones that had come with globalization. It has come with development. So the issue is, like you rightly asked, how do we combat it? We go back to think, for one, to think of, you know, it's not strange if we have heard that someone took his life or her life. That we have heard it from time immemorial, how people take their life. Because maybe they get to a point, they become hopeless, the final ebb of their hopelessness, and so they decide to take their life, maybe because they don't want to continue to suffer. But over time, we found out that in the course of development of the world, people have embarked on this. We've heard it all in the other parts of the world. And you know that you don't just wake up one day and decide to do something that will terminate both your life and the life of others. It takes a deliberate brainwashing, a careful, calculated brainwashing, so that the person should be convinced beyond reasonable doubt, beyond every force, that what he or she is going to do is the best thing and the most ultimate thing to do. So if you're intending to handle it, then you have to go back to the foundational basis as to discover what is the purpose. How can someone think of such a thing? What environment can help the person to inculcate? You know, when habits are formed, they're very hard for you to break. So it's not about, it's going to take us some Herculean task to actually do it. But like we said, a conducive environment, sincerity on the part of the government, our leaders, like even the religious leaders we're talking about, because most of these things, I remember some time ago, at the emergence of our democracy, somewhere in River State, things like this happened. But you know, how did it happen? A camp decided to arm a group of people to enable them have their advantage in politics. But it got to a point where it broke out of control. It is the same thing that have happened. You know quite well that the same Bauchi we are talking about, it has been reported that all these bombing or these groups, they did not just come out like that. They were nurtured from political mindset. They were nurtured. And now they have discovered that, they can use it to actualize so many things. And international bodies also have also seen it. So those are, you will have to look back and then see how we can begin to give a better orientation to disorientate our people from this mindset. Certain deliberate policies, both from the government and religious leaders, need to be put in place. But we need a conducive environment to do that. We need the confidence of each other. We need the faith of each other for us to sit down and do it. Without which, it may not be possible when a man has made up his mind to do what you want. You need to present a better option, an alternative, why the person should not do what, and let it help the person to see the other side of it. And if you're saying the person is not just the word of mouth, you also need to do something down so that the person can be convinced that what you're saying. You know, there is a statement that says someone wants to know how much you care before they know how much you know. So show them the care. Some of them need care.
Okay.
They need help. So I believe that if our government put these things in, they can also partner with private agencies, which I believe they will want to do. You can see what Lagos State is doing. Everyone needs peace. We need peace for us for there to be development and progress. But if we do not have it, so we need to get back to the mindset, sensitize the people.
Okay. All right, I'm now still talking about that. Do you think that churches and worship centers in the north of the country especially should take the security of its worshippers into their own hands? Do you think they should recruit the services of maybe security outfits or professional security operatives instead of waiting for the government to actually provide that security for them?
I believe that every responsible government, when it sees incessant attacks, they do not need to wait. But because I know that if you're going to apply for security operatives to be detailed within an area, sometimes it takes some protocols. So it may take some time. But because of the imminent danger now and the frequency, we can say that it is monotonous. So I believe the government over there, they are more desirous to assist. Okay. All that we can say is that we may not have to sleep and believe that government agencies, security agencies can do it alone. We can partner with them. Even within churches, we have protocols unit, we have ushering unit,
yes,
we have security units. These ones, although they are not arm-carrying operatives, but they can assist because they know who is a member of church. They know who is new. They know new faces in church. So they can also partner with these people or collaborate with them so that they can, efficiently police an area of worship as against any foreign intruder who may have strange intentions, so that if such a person is coming, they can also welcome the person, with a smile and courteously. But yet, they want to discover why the person is coming. So it has not come to a point where we say, let us take up arms, but we can collaborate with them.
Okay.
I believe that can efficiently provide security to our people while they are worshiping.
Okay. All right. Well, we have been looking at terrorist attacks on Christian worship centers in the northern part of Nigeria, and we have been looking at the way forward. And, from everything that we have said, that we can conclude also that it is important that we too be security conscious while the government is making efforts or doing what they are doing to try and bring security back into the country. We too have to be security conscious as well. And of course, like you also said, continuously promoting education, which, by the way, seems to be the very reason why they are so much against education, because when a man is educated, he would know why not to go blow himself up and take a lot of people with them and all of that. So there is a way in which all of us can be part in ensuring that our country is safe, and also to continue to pray for the peace of our nation, which is also the most important thing that you and I can do in this situation. Now, I have been talking with Clement Ipo, who is a legal practitioner. He is also a public policy analyst, and he's a friend of the house as well. Thank you very much for being with us again on this particular edition. And thank you also for being part of this particular edition of Let's Talk. Remember, here we talk about issues of national interest and concern and how we can proffer solutions to those issues. We'll be having another episode, and we ask you to join us on that.